All right. I think we're live here. I hope we're live. All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Derek Thompson. I'm the principal here at the Berkland Elementary School. I have a couple guests with me today. If you guys don't mind introducing yourselves.
Sure. My name is Greg Thomas. I am the assistant principal.
And I'm Jenna Weinock, and I am a first grade teacher.
So Mrs. Weinock is also our teacher leader for the grade 1 team. So that's why she's here today to help us out. And I apologize in advance if we have any technical issues. I'm trying to run us through this program and control slides at the same time. So hopefully this goes off without any major glitches. But I just wanted to start off and say, that this presentation is somewhat open-ended. So if you have any questions, you can post your question in the comment box, and hopefully we'll be able to see it, and we'll do our best to answer any questions. This orientation today is for families that are new to HBB, most of which I assume are first graders. That's typically the case, but the layout of this presentation we'll start off with information that's relevant for everybody first. And if you are not the parent of a child in first grade, and some of what we get into in terms of introducing the first grade teachers and such are not relevant to you, you can log off or stop viewing this, because this is also going to be available to view later. The only downside is you can't ask us questions if you're watching the recorded version of this, obviously. So Mr. Thomas introduced himself. Mr. Thomas is entering his second year here with us at HBB, but we do have 2 first-year secretaries, which in time you'll get a chance to meet. Mrs. Kavaleski, who is our full-year secretary, so you'd see her here in the summer as well, and Mrs. Precourt, who is our school year secretary. They're both really excited to be here, bring a lot of positive energy, and we're looking forward to a really good year in the office with them. So we have, just to get right into the programming here, and some things I wanted to say. If you aren't already aware and watching school committee last night, we are requiring masks going into the year next year, at least to start the year. That's for all staff and students. I wish that we were completely back to normal. It's just not the case. I had said to the staff a couple times last year that I think the hardest part of this entire pandemic is the fact that it's really going to be a slow roll back to normal, and that it wasn't going to just end. And I think this is an example of that. We still have remnants, and that's going to involve wearing masks. I am excited that next year is going to be much closer to normal than it was last year. And I think we ended the year really strong, but it's exciting to me that we're going to have all of our students back in the building to start the year. We will be able to do a lot of things that are business as usual for us. I fully anticipate that we will have our after school clubs running. So at the Berkland School, we do have a champions program. So if you're looking for before or after school program, we have a program that is run by champions. There's information about that on our website. You can call us too here in the office, and we can get you in touch with the folks there. But if you're just looking for some enrichment, we also run after school clubs. So I would say starting at some point in October, we run an 8-week session in the beginning of the year. We have everything in those clubs, from homework help to board games to intramural kind of sports. We do all sorts of things, which is exciting. We run 2 sessions of that, both for 8 weeks. And I'm excited. I think this year we haven't been able to do that in a year and a half. We will be doing those things, because all the kids are back. We'll try to keep the kids spread out as much as possible, but really, we're not going to be going to different locations for recess. The kids are going to be able to go outside and see each other in recess and take their masks off. So I do recognize there's some frustration about wearing masks, but that's the reality that we're facing, and we're going to roll with it. And we're just going to focus on making sure the kids have a good year. I think to walk around this building, if you had the opportunity last year, despite all the challenges we had in front of us, our kids had a lot of fun, and we worked really hard to make sure that the kids enjoyed coming to school every day, and that we mixed working hard and learning with good fun opportunities. I think we did a good job with that last year with all the challenges we were facing. This year, I'm even more optimistic because a lot of the restrictions have loosened up a little bit, and we're going to be able to do a little bit more. So that's very exciting. One of my slides does not seem to be working here. Oh, no, actually it is. It looked blank. But so these are our special subject teachers. So kids at the Birkeland School have a 45-minute special every day. We have lunch and recess, and then the rest of their time is mainly in their classroom. But kids participate in specials through a 6-day rotation. So over those 6 days, they have music twice, they have art once, they participate in computers once, and phys ed twice. Our phys ed teachers are Mr. Whitelaw, Mr. Phoenix, Mrs. Crawford is our computer teacher, Mrs. Donovan is our art teacher, Mr. Dawson and Miss McGovern are both our music teachers. They're an exceptionally talented group of teachers. They do a great job. Kids very often will tell you their favorite class is music or art or computers or PE. I think we have something for everybody. And they do a really great job keeping it fun and enjoyable. And so those are some of the teachers that you'll be introduced to in your time here. I did want to say a piece before I kick this over to Mr. Thomas too, is just the importance of communication. There's a number of ways that you can stay dialed into what's going on at the Birkeland School. We do send out a newsletter every single week that is emailed. It's a digital newsletter that I write. You will also hear from your teachers weekly in some form of communication, a newsletter. Those newsletters ultimately get posted on our website. We have a ton of information on our website, but we also put our newsletters out on Facebook and Twitter. The parents of HBB, our PTA, also have a Facebook page. I know a lot of parents go on there to get questions asked. But, at the end of the day, I think our success is determined by our ability to communicate. And I would just invite you to call us with any questions that you have. If we don't know that there's an issue, there's nothing we can do about it. I never promise that we're going to be perfect, but I always promise that we'll be responsive. We'll get back to you. We'll listen to what your concerns are, and we'll work together to find a solution. We all have the same goal in mind, and that's to make sure the kids have a good experience. I have 3 kids myself, and I know full well the responsibility we have in front of us every day. When you send us your kids for 7 hours a day, sometimes 8, sometimes 10 for the kids that stay late after school. Oftentimes they see us more than they might see you, and we take that responsibility very seriously. We care about all of our kids, and we see it as a partnership. So communication is really important, and we'd encourage you to please call with anything, call, email, whatever it is that works for you. We want to know if there's a concern. So I'm going to kick this over to Mr. Thomas in just a second. I did just want to say that, one of the things we do here is we spend a lot of time and energy establishing what we call positive behavioral expectations. I think I'm a firm believer that we create our own reality. And our philosophy here is that we have positive behavioral expectations that we believe every student can meet. Those expectations are to be safe, be respectful, responsible, caring, be healthy, and to try your hardest. We know and believe that all of our kids can meet those expectations, and our bend on it is a little bit different. We don't have a list of rules that if you break, you're going to get in trouble and there's punishments attached to each one of those. We believe that every kid can meet these expectations, but we also know the kids make mistakes. And when they make mistakes, we work hard to teach them to fix those mistakes. And we also have a few programs in the building that help us formally teach kids those skills that they need in order to meet with success. And we also spend a lot of time recognizing kids and validating kids when they meet those expectations. We give out a Character Word of the Week award. We have positive office referrals. We give Husky Haven tickets to kids when they're caught doing something good, and they can turn those tickets into the school store. But I think I've spoken enough. I'm going to kick it over to Mr. Thomas for a minute.
Thank you. I'm very excited to meet all your kids next week. We've been working hard this summer to make sure everything's in place to have a great year for next year. And it's going to be awesome. My primary job, I like to tell the kids, is to make sure that they're happy and they feel safe while they're at school. If your student is on a 504 plan, that's one of the jobs I have. I'm the 504 coordinator for the building. So if you have a 504, you'll be hearing from me. Otherwise, my main job in the building is discipline. And that's, if, I'm looking for kids, we talk about being Berklin's best all the time. And we strive, to look for kids doing the right thing and reward them for doing the right thing. But guess what? Sometimes kids come to school, they have a bad day. And when they have a bad day, they come see me more often than not. And, we talk about it. We talk through what the mistakes were, why they made the mistakes, how they were feeling. And most importantly, what can we do to fix those mistakes? 9 times out of 10, that involves, going back into the classroom, having a conversation with the teacher, maybe mediating between the two students. But it's important that when the mistakes are made, that we fix them and that we move on. It's not something we're going to hold against the student, and we make sure that they know that listen, I've made a quarter of 11. I've made probably 25 mistakes already this morning, but that's how we get better, and that's how we get stronger. But it's really neat when we talk about Berklin's best. It's a real thing. Every morning, Mr. Thompson gets on the loudspeaker, and the last thing he talks about is, remember, be Berklin's best. And he reiterates it every morning, and the kids listen to it. They believe it. And it's really a special place. So I'm excited to get started. Like I said, if you have any questions, I'm always a phone call away. If I'm not at my desk, then I'll return your call as soon as I can. And like I said, my job is I want you guys to feel just as safe and happy with the school as your kids. And I have no doubt that's going to happen. But again, I believe that happens through, open communication. So at any time, please feel free to reach out to me if you have questions, and I'll do my best to help you in any way I can.
Mr. Thompson, I just ask from a parent perspective, if a child is sent to your office, what can a parent expect?
So expect a phone call from me. If your child comes to my office, sometimes, kids come to my office for small things. They're not huge, big disciplinary problems. Sometimes it's just to talk through, what's going on. But if a child comes to my office, you can be sure to get a phone call. And I hope I get to talk to a lot of you parents, and share, what's happening during your child's day. But yeah, that's a good question. Absolutely, Mr. Thompson. If someone's in my office, parents are going to get a call, and they're going to, know what's going on.
Well, I think, one of the things we hear a lot from parents that are new is, maybe they are thinking school is like it was when they went to school whenever, and they get a call from the principal or the assistant principal. I think must be a really big deal. And hopefully that's not the case. I think the vast majority of kids, for some reason or another, we've had to make a phone call home and talk about something, whether it's good or whether it's something not so good. Maybe it's major, it could be something small, but we do try to stay pretty dialed in to what's going on with the kids, and our goal is to just teach them. So us calling is not something to be afraid of.
No.
It doesn't mean it's a big major issue. So I think that's important to reiterate that point. So thank you.
And sometimes, let me just say, sometimes when I do call and there is an issue, it turns out to be a positive thing, because the conversations we have with the students and the way they, make amends for what they've done, it turns out to be something really positive. So getting a phone call from me is not a bad thing. It's not like when we went to school and, it was, not like that. But thank you.
Yep, no problem. So our first day of school is next Wednesday. So drop-off starts at 8:40. School technically starts at 8:50. School day ends at 3:20. If you're coming to pick your kids up at about 3:05, is when parents start to show up to pick up. I'm going to go over that in the next slide and where that all takes place. I did want to just mention real quick, because this is a question that comes up a lot, is early release days, what time that ends. When we have an early release day, the day ends at 1 o'clock. So let me jump into the next slide here. Hopefully you can see this okay. I might need to do a different view for this. Yeah, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger just for this part. So this is a really important piece because it's a little bit confusing. So if you're dropping your child off, so a lot of kids ride on the bus. If they're riding the bus to school, there's nothing to worry about. The bus company has recently published the bus list. So really all you need to do is look that up, look at your address, and you'll see where the closest bus stop is. And, you'll go there and drop your kid off in the morning. They will not take your child if they don't have a mask on in the morning. So just be prepared for that. But there does need to be an adult with your child at the bus, both at drop off and at pickup. The bus will bring your child right back to the school if there isn't an adult there to get your kid off the bus. But if you're dropping your child off in the morning, we do that in the front of the school. So this is an aerial view of the school. And those red arrows indicate the route that people take. So some people come from Route 105 down Mayflower Ave. And then some people approach the school coming down Mitchell Street. There's a lot of cars coming. There's 2 schools here, about 1,200 kids. So there is a lot of traffic, and it's really important that if you're dropping off, that you just stay in the line of traffic and trust the process. The first couple days, it takes a little bit longer, but by and large, it flows in about 10 minutes. We get all the cars through. So what'll happen is, chances are, if you're approaching, say, through Mitchell Street, there'll be a line of traffic. You'll get yourself in that line of traffic, and you'll wait. At 8:40, we open the doors. We do not want parents dropping students off out in the front of the school prior to that time and driving away. That is not okay. You will see a few kids showing up because we have some kids that walk. Those kids should not be kids that were dropped off. And there's basically 2 loops in front of the school. One loop goes to Mary Kay Good, the other is to the Birkeland School. And you can see those indicated here by the red arrows. And then there's the star, which is the front of the school. So what'll happen is myself and a few additional staff members will be out in front of the school, and we will be walking along, directing people to let kids out of the car. And we may direct you to keep your kid in the car because maybe you're too far down the line. And the goal is to get the line of traffic moving as fast as possible. It is not the place to get out of your car and hug and take pictures and say your goodbyes. I apologize. Please do that before you drive your kids to school. We just have too many people, too much traffic to do that here at the school. If you're coming to the school for maybe you have to talk to the nurse or you have to come into the office for some reason, stay in the line of traffic and pull into the parking lot. There's different entry points here in this parking lot where you can pull in, you can park, and you can walk along the line of traffic. Do not pull into the parking lot, let your kids out, and send them across the line of traffic so that you can pull out and get to work quicker. The only time we ever have an issue is when people get impatient. Sometimes people will drop their kids off and then try to get out of the line of traffic and drive around. That is not okay. We will jump in front of your car and stop you if you do that because kids get out on both sides of the car. And we've had instances where people have tried to quickly pull out and drive around and almost hit a kid because they're getting out of the car. So just something to be prepared for. If everyone cooperates and just follows the direction that we provide out there, it actually turns into a very smooth process. But be prepared that the first couple days are a little bumpy. In the afternoon, we actually do pickup on the back side of the building. So you cannot get to the back side of the building by pulling in on the same side that you drop off. You actually have to go out to Route 28 and come in through the back entrance. And that is indicated here with the purple arrows. So you'll pull into the back and immediately there's a big green oval and our gymnasium is right there to your right. You're going to drive around the gymnasium, park on the pavement, not on the grass, and you'll walk up and you can see in the bottom right corner, it's an old banner and I do need to replace it. It doesn't look great, but there is a double set of doors that you will walk down the walkway and approach those double-setted doors where any kids who are being picked up by parents will be waiting on the other side of those doors. You will be asked to present your ID if you're picking up, but that's where that process takes place. Let's jump here a couple slides. If your child is absent, we have a safe to school number. So you just call that number. That's also found on our website. The first thing you need to do, even if you're late, is to call that because we send out automated calls at about 9:15. So please just make that call as quick as possible. We sent home a form that we asked everyone to send back. It looks something like this. I believe it was purple. How your kids are getting home on the first 5 days of school. If you haven't already returned that to us, please do so. We establish a list of how every kid gets home. Like if your kid is riding bus 5 every day, but we find out, on Fridays, they go to Champions, say. That's how they're going to be dismissed every day. Anytime that you have a change to that routine, we need you to send us a note. Notes must be written by the parent, not written by a student and signed by a parent. And notes need to be for that individual day. We don't want you sending in a note saying on Monday, my kid is going to be a pickup today and then again on Thursday. You would need to send in another note again on Thursday. And lastly, we really don't allow bus changes. Some of our buses are completely full. Sometimes parents will write a note and say, my child is going to take bus 20 home today when their normal bus is bus 2 because you've arranged it with a parent to do childcare. Well, that bus might not have any available seats on it. So that's not okay. If you do run into an issue with childcare, just call us. We do try to be flexible, but by and large, there's certain rules that we need to follow. So, if we get notes that we have any questions about, we will give you a call. The other thing I wanted to mention, so this is just nuts and bolts and a lot of me talking here, but you'll get a pupil registration form on the first day of school. This is super important. This is going to tell you everything that we have in our program in terms of contacts, who's okay to dismiss, and your contact information. Look it over really carefully and please send it back. And also, please write legibly because one of the big things is your phone number and email. Lots of times we might end up with the wrong phone number in our system because we thought it was a 2 and you meant to write a 5, say. So that's really important. And your email address. And one good way to know whether we have your email address or not is whether you're getting an email from me every Friday, because I send an email out pretty faithfully every Friday. And if you're not getting that, that means we don't have your email address. Not the end of the world. You can always call us, but we'll have a lot less issues if everybody's good about this form and getting it back to us nice and neatly on the first couple of days of school. Couple other nuts and bolts before I turn this over to Mrs. Weinock here, and we start getting into the first grade specific information. We do ask that you we have free and reduced lunch here as an option for kids. This is not like it was when I was a kid. I got free lunch when I was a kid, and I had to stand up in front of the whole class every day and go up and get my blue ticket. It was really embarrassing. We don't do things like that anymore. Every kid now has a PIN number when they're getting lunch. So they just go through the line and they punch a 4-digit code. It doesn't matter whether you're buying lunch or whether you got free lunch. So there's no harm in applying for free and reduced lunch. There's no shame in it. No one knows who is free and reduced lunch and who is not. Teachers don't know. Our cafeteria staff actually don't even know. Our food service director is the one who knows, essentially, and I could have access to that information. I don't spend a lot of time looking at it. So, if you might qualify for free and reduced lunch, we just encourage you to definitely apply. That's another form that will be coming home on the first day of school. A couple other nuts and bolts here. We have a number of students who have very significant life-threatening allergies. Some kids that we've had in times even have airborne allergies. If your child is in a class with another student who has allergies, we will send a letter home letting you know not who the student is, but that there is a child in that class. And we ask that you do your best to help us out by not sending in snacks that contain nuts that are allergy safe. Um, we have often had parents ask, like, is it okay to have peanut butter and jelly at lunch? Absolutely. This isn't a request for what you send in for lunch. We do separate the kids in the lunchroom, but in snack, kids eat in the classroom, and we would like you to help us out. If you made a mistake or your kid grabbed peanut butter crackers and you didn't realize it and they brought it into class, it's okay. We do keep an eye on that stuff, and we, depending on the level of severity of the allergy in the class, we may move your child's seat just while they're eating lunch, or possibly even have them eat in another location. But by and large, if you could help us with that process, that would be really important. So we just had a question, just to be sure. Lunch is free for all students this year, but we should all fill out the free reduced lunch form. Is that correct? Even if we would not qualify for the program? Yeah, I mean, if you know for sure you're not going to qualify for the program, I don't think that you need to fill it out. But if you're not sure and you're on the line, yes, please do so. Lunch is most likely free for all students this year, but a lot of our funding is tied to how many kids we actually have in the free and reduced lunch program. So more kids that qualify, honestly, for us, the better. So, if you're not sure, fill it out and send it in. There's no harm in it. Like I said, it's completely confidential. So, yeah, we would appreciate it if you did do that. So thank you for that question. So let's see, moving this along. So one important thing to reference is Mrs. Quirk. We have what's called a Family Resource Center here. Mrs. Quirk is here for everybody. So it's amazing the amount of connections she's formed with families. She helps us with a backpack program if snacks are an issue, families that might be food insecure, families that need help with housing, but also people that need help just figuring out what resources exist in the community. She is our conduit to really everything in Middleborough. She is a wealth of information. She has a presence on our website as well, where you can find a lot of information. I just want to make sure people know that. And, this isn't just for families that are struggling. I mean, everybody at some point runs into a point that they're struggling. I mean, we've had situations where families have had a death in the family and their child's having a hard time because they miss their grandparent and they're looking for counseling. Mrs. Quirk is a great resource for really any of that stuff, and she's always there. So if you can get on her website, you can email her, but you can also just call us here at the school and we can get you in touch with her. So I just want to make sure you are aware of that resource available to all families. So now we're getting into first grade specific stuff. So if you don't have a first grader and I've already bored you enough, you can tune me out here. And I'm going to kick it over to Mrs. Weinock in a minute. I did want to point out, we sent home in the letter to first grade families a lanyard that has your child's teacher's name on it. If your child is in first grade and you didn't get that, call us here today, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, whenever. What we ask is that you make sure your child wears that lanyard every day until the teacher takes it away. Eventually, once we are confident that the students know where they're going, we'll remove the lanyard. But I know a lot of first grade parents have a lot of anxiety about how's my child going to know where to go. We normally do a walkthrough. We were not able to do that this year. Unfortunately, we get the opportunity to practice where we're walking. But we have an army of adults out in the hallway, out by buses, out front by pickup, looking for those tags and any other student that's new to the school. Everyone knows where the kids are going. We put a list together of who has who for homeroom. As long as your kid knows their name, they'll be okay. If they can say their own name, the staff will be able to help them get to where they need to go. But we pay particular attention for those lanyards and trying to corral all our first graders and walking them down to their classrooms and getting them where they need to go. And then our first grade teachers are really practicing everything in the first few days that the first graders are going to need to know. We practice everything from how to go to recess to how to go through the lunchroom to the bathroom and just everything in between. So your kids will be in really good hands, and I'm pretty confident they'll be coming home telling you that they really had a great day. So I'm going to introduce our first grade staff here by picture only, and then I'm going to kick it over to Mrs. Weinock. So our first grade team consists of Mrs. Lemieux, who is a classroom teacher, Mrs. Mahoney, who is a special ed teacher, Mrs. Adams, who is a special ed teacher, Mrs. Jankowski is a classroom teacher, Mrs. Stebbins is one of our ESPs. You met Mrs. Weinock. She's going to talk in a minute. Mrs. Cardarelli is a new addition to our first grade team. She was a fifth grade teacher last year. I know she's very excited about joining the first grade team. And Mrs. Bartlett. And then some additional staff that your students might be talking about or may meet at some point. Mrs. Trottier, who was promoted this year into the role of instructional coach. Mrs. Perkins is our school nurse. Mrs. Madigan is our reading specialist. Mrs. Doak is our adjustment counselor. Mrs. McDonald is our school psychologist. Mrs. McDonald, Mrs. Doak, and Mr. Thomas will essentially run our grade 1 community meeting, which takes place once a month. So you'll definitely hear them talking about them. Miss Callahan is our TLC teacher. Miss Grant is our counselor in that program. Some of you may have students in that program, so we thought it was important to introduce you to their faces as well. So I'm going to stop talking right now because I've talked a lot. I'm going to kick it over to Mrs. Weinock, who's going to talk a little bit more specific about first grade experience.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Hi, everyone. And I just wanted to say welcome to Middleborough and the Brooklyn School. We're so excited that you're here. If this is your first year here with us, you are at such a special place. I have been teaching for a long time now. This will be my 14th year, and I feel so grateful to be at the Brooklyn School and to be part of the Middleborough community. This is one of the most special communities I've ever been a part of. And this will be my 6th year at the Brooklyn School. And this school is so special for so many reasons. But I think once you step inside, you immediately feel the culture of our school. And it's just a loving and warm place. And the teachers and staff work so well to make sure that every student is really happy and healthy and excited to be at school. And as a mom myself, I, always think about what I would want to know about the school where my child is attending and, what are the core values? And again, it's just all about making sure that the kids are happy and healthy and excited to be here and excited to learn. That's the most important part. And then, of course, we also take a lot of pride in the academics that we have here at the school and how much goes into all of that. Our core values as educators here is to make sure that we're meeting each and every child where they're at, to make sure they are getting what they need as individuals. Again, meeting them where they're at, whether, they're developing, whether they're already meeting some, important benchmarks. We're meeting each and every child where they're at. And we do that through a variety of means. As you saw on the slide before, we use differentiated instruction, and we do that through a variety of ways: small group, whole group. We use our workshop model, us teachers work tirelessly to make sure that we are meeting all of the kids meeting all of the needs of each of the kids. And we continue to monitor and evaluate the students and ourselves as educators. And if there is an area of need, we will be very open and honest with you about our communication for that. But when we come to you with those things in mind, we always have a plan in place. And we value your feedback as well. We're a team. We work together. And, us as teachers here, we use all of the resources in this school as well, whether that be other teachers. We use the child study team, the administration. So all of those people, it's all hands on deck here. And it really makes a huge difference for all the students. You know, in addition to the academics, like I said, focusing on the health and happiness of our students. You may have seen a couple of slides back. We have something called Purposeful People. It's a Character Strong program, and it's a fantastic curriculum that we use for helping students with character development and understanding expected versus unexpected choices. And you might hear some of that vocabulary with your kiddos when they're coming home. It's a common language that we use here throughout the school to help with understanding those expectations and how to be Brooklyn's best and what that looks like, and also why we do that. And so it's a wonderful curriculum that we use where we have lots of stories and tools that we use that are very relatable to the students. And as Mr. Thompson mentioned, we have community meeting once a month. So not only are the students being exposed to it in the classroom here, but they're also carrying those conversations carry through during the community meeting, monthly community meetings as well. And that's when students get recognized for Character Strong. We have character words of the month, and so students are nominated, and it's just a really big celebration of displaying those character strong things that we've been working on in the classroom and throughout the school. So there's just a lot of celebrations that carry through with that curriculum. One thing I wanted to mention too, as Mr. Thompson said earlier, we really value communication here, and it's a two-way street. So, we reach out to you for a number of things, and we expect and encourage that you reach out to us as well. And again, parents and teachers, we're a team. And so all of the things that you bring to us and that we bring to you, we work together to make sure that your child is getting everything that they need. And yeah, so I mean, it's just we truly love what we do. This team is such a special team. We all work together to make sure everyone is getting what they need, and we're really excited about this upcoming school year and to be back together. And if you have any questions or concerns, always feel free, like I said, to reach out to your child's teacher, and then always you can also reach out to me as well. I'd be more than happy to help you with anything that I can.
Excellent. Thank you, Mrs. Weinock. So really, the last thing that I just wanted to make sure that you knew about is there are opportunities to get involved here at the school. We are blessed with an amazing PTA that does so much for our kids. They do a lot of fundraising, so you'll hear a lot about the fundraisers. So if you're able to get involved in that, that is great. But there's a lot of different ways to be involved in the PTA, and one of the most important is just participating. We organize a lot of events, and some of those are big fundraisers for us. So just participating in that is hugely helpful. We recognize a lot of parents work and they can't show up in the school. But, like I said, participating in the events is just as helpful. But if you do want to get involved, the PTA has a website. You can jump on that. We also, I don't know where things will stand as the year progresses in terms of volunteering and things like that, but that is something we do typically welcome, and we do anticipate getting to that point at some point in the future. So again, just call us if being involved in the school is something you want to do. And then the other opportunity too, as a school council, shortly, I will be, early in the year, I will send out information in one of my newsletters just looking for people that might be interested in joining the school council. School council is an equal number of group of teachers and parents that work with me to develop our school improvement plan. So if you're interested in really getting into the nuts and bolts of what we're planning, what we're doing to move the school forward, that might be the group for you. If we have more people than we need expressing interest, we would have an election on or during open house. So just be aware. If that seems like something you might be interested in, just shoot me an email or give me a call. And I think that's everything we had planned for today. Certainly, if anyone has any questions, you can quickly, before we wrap up, throw them in the comments there. But like I said, you can also just give us a call. You can email us. We want to hear from you. as we said before, we see this as a partnership, really important for us to work together. And if you have a concern and we don't know about it, there isn't anything we can do about it. So please, we want to know, just reach out. You can call your child's teacher. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Mr. Thomas, the nurse, our school adjustment counselor, secretaries. We have a lot of resources here. So again, welcome to the school. Welcome to HBB. We're looking forward to meeting all of you and hopefully seeing you at different events throughout the year. Don't be shy. Come up, introduce yourself if you're new to the school. And we're looking forward to having a great year. So thank you. Anything else, Mr. Thomas, Ms. Weinock?
Oh, I just thank you so much. We're looking forward to a wonderful year.
Can't wait to meet everyone, guys.
All right. Well, have a good day. We'll see y'all soon. Bye.